you could have your gold sheets out if those are helpful to you. So again, the reason we are factoring is a way that you can solve a quadratic equation. So if you've noticed, kind of what we've been doing, the pattern is we learn a method of factoring. So factoring using a GCF, or factoring by grouping, or we've been factoring trinomials where you make the x with the box. So you learn the factoring method, and then we use that factoring method to then solve an equation. So we're learning the factoring so that we can use it to solve. So all of today's, and hopefully this helps too if you had this part of your quiz incorrect. I know, again, I'm not passing them back right now, but if you had this part of your quiz incorrect, then if you remember from the quiz it didn't make sense, hopefully now it makes sense. So you are solving. I need it quiet, please. Gabe, you can check your grade later. Well, you can check it later. So I have the steps here off to the side to, again, help guide you for what you need to get done. So step 1, get the equation equal to 0. Riley. This equation is already equal to 0, so step 1 is done. So always solving quadratic equations, one side has to be 0 first. Second step then is to factor the other side, so the left side in this case. So this is the X box method, the reverse FOIL, what we've been doing. So notice at the bottom, I already have the space, the X in the box there for you. So looking at our trinomial on the top, 2x squared plus 9x minus 18, filling in the X first, what would we be multiplying to on the top here? Or positive or negative? Negative, thank you. So why is it negative 36x squared? Yep. 2x squared times negative 18. I will. And then what are we adding to? 9x. Not both of them. So if you're multiplying to a negative, yep, one will be negative, but the other will be positive. So really you're looking for two numbers that multiply to 36, and because one of them is negative, they have a difference of 9.
2 and 18.
No.
3 and 12.
3 and 12. Okay, which one is negative?
12.
Yep. Okay. Adding to a positive 9, it would be a negative 3 and a positive 12. Okay. And then make sure they both have an X. Okay, in the box, what term goes in the top left? Okay, it needs to be quiet, please. Ryan. Thank you. Negative 18. Okay, so make sure the two values or two terms from your X are on the diagonal. First term in your trinomial, last term in your trinomial. These are the two terms that add to the 9x, which is in the middle. Okay, then do the factoring out the GCF from each row and column. So 2x squared and negative 3x. just have an x, 12x, and negative 18. That you put 2x here. So yeah, that's not correct because 2 does not go into both 2 and negative 3. So it's the GCF. So it's what in the row what the GCF is, their common factor. Okay, 12x and negative 18. I'm sorry, some of you said answers, but so they do have 3 in common. Well,
6.
it is 6. So, okay, couple of things, because some of you are asking too if it's negative or not. So in the row, the first one in the row is positive. So this is positive. And then it has to be the highest number they have in common, which is 6, the highest factor. What? Well, if the first one is negative, that's only when it's negative. This one will be, yes, because this is negative. So 2x squared and 12x, what's their GCF? 2x. And then negative 3x and negative 18? Negative 3. Okay, and this is something too. Again, I know I'm not passing the quizzes back right now, but I was noticing some of this. This x and 6, this is x plus 6 because the 6 is positive. It's not x times 6. So the factored form then, going back up here, is x plus 6 times 2x minus 3. And then don't forget, you still have the equal 0. You're solving the equation, so we're not done. That was step 2. Well, we're not to step 4. So step 3 then is set each factor equal to 0 and solve each equation. Keep in mind, again, these are your factors. So x plus 6 is a factor. So x plus 6 could equal 0, or 2x minus 3 could equal 0. Okay, those are your 2 factors. Trying to point things out for those of you that seemed to have some trouble on the quiz with these. And then I solve both of these. So x plus 6 equals 0. What do I do to solve for x? So x is equal to negative 6. That's one of my answers. Or so I'd get 2x equals positive 3, 0 plus 3, and then divide by 2. So x could equal, now I could leave it as 3 over 2, but if I actually do 3 divided by 2, it is 1.5. So if you put 1.5, that's fine. So then that's step 3. Step 4, make sure you circle the 2 solutions. So I have x equals negative 6 or x equals 1.5. Okay, now this one does not ask you to check, but because we're going through this together, I do want to show that as well. Natalie, did you have a question? Okay. So if it asks you to check, you do need to do that, but there were some issues with the check on the quiz as well, because some of you were doing the right things. You were substituting these back into the equation, but it wasn't actually working out the way that you were plugging it in, and then you just left it. So if it's not working out, you're not understanding the purpose of the check. The check is to make sure that you have the correct answers. So if I were to check this, the FOIL would check that this is factored correctly, but it wouldn't check the solutions. So to check, I take my original equation. So I'm going to check the x equals negative 6 first. And then I'm going to replace all of the x's with negative 6. So I have 2 times, in parentheses, negative 6 squared plus 9 times negative 6 minus 18, and I need to check that that actually is 0. So if I don't get 0 when I simplify the left side, that means something's not right. Either my answer is not right or the math I did with checking is not right. So this is where some of you still lost points on the check because you were not actually getting it to equal what it should equal. So here you just need to make sure that you follow order of operations. So for example, think PEMDAS. What am I supposed to do first with order of operations here? Nadia? Exponent. So it's parentheses. We do have parentheses, but just because of multiplication, exponents are first. This should be the first thing that I do. The negative 6 squared. What is negative 6 squared? You multiplied it by 2 already. I just want negative 6 squared. It is 36, and it's positive. So here on calculators, Ryan and Gabe, stop talking. If I just type in negative 6 squared, my calculator says negative 36. That is not correct because negative 6 times negative 6 should be positive. What the calculator here is doing is this is saying the opposite of 6 squared. 6 squared is 36 and the opposite is negative. So your calculator is not wrong. The way you typed it in is not correct. If you want negative 6 squared, negative 6 has to be in parentheses and then squared. Okay, so negative 6 squared is positive. So it's 2 times 36 positive plus 9 times negative 6 minus 18. I still need to make sure this equals 0. You don't understand what? Did you say you don't understand something? Okay. Now I have, there's multiplication, there's addition, there's subtraction. What should come next? Multiplication. I can do both of these multiplications in the same step. So 2 times 36, that's the 72, plus 9 times negative 6, and then I have minus 18. And then you should add and subtract left to right. So if I do 72 plus negative 54, that's 18. And then 18 minus 18 is 0. So I do get 0 equals 0, meaning that solution works. If I didn't get 0, then my check didn't work for some reason. Okay, so that is the purpose of the check. So then if we also check 1.5 was our other answer. Okay, so I have 2x squared plus 9x minus 18 equals 0. Well, if I ask you to check, Riley, you have to check both. You can't just check one because you got 2 answers. So I'm just showing the check because people got the check wrong on the quiz.
So then would that be, so you have to do exponent first.
Actually, I have, yeah.
1.5.
Okay, you guys, I realize this problem, the directions don't say to check. I get that. I'm also going through one of the 6 problems that you have for your assignment. Okay, and I'm showing you this because people got the check wrong on the quiz. There was a problem that said to check, and some people got it wrong. Okay, so I know, guys, I know that this problem doesn't say to check. I am aware of that. I made this worksheet. I know what the directions say. But there is a problem on your assignment that tells you to check, and I want to make sure that you check it correctly and that you understand the purpose. Okay? Trying to be helpful because not everybody got this right on the quiz. So exponents would be first. 1.5 squared, so 2, what? I didn't put the parentheses, you're right. This is also positive 1.5. So I could, if I put it in parentheses, it's still positive. You are right, though, I didn't put them. Okay, then I have the multiplication. So 2.5 times 2, I'd have 4.5 plus 9 times 1.5 is 13.5. And I still have the minus 18. So 4.5 plus 13.5, that's 18. Minus 18 is 0. So that works out also. Okay, so when you are asked to check, not all of them ask you to. When you are asked to check, that's what you need to show. And you have to show that it works out. So if it does not work out and you don't go back to fix something, then your check is incorrect. Okay, so you have question 2 is just solving. Question 3, you are solving, and question 3 asks you to check. So you do have to check number 3. And then if you look at the back, these are review type problems. Okay, so this is looking back if you need to, reviewing types of problems that we had covered previously that were on your quiz. So 4 is using the distributive property to factor, so finding the GCF. That was the first day, first lesson of this chapter. 5 is using grouping to factor. That is where you make a box. 6 is using reverse FOIL. That is what we've been doing, so making the X with the box. 7 is the one that I meant to delete off of this, and I forgot. So you can cross off 7 because we haven't done that yet. Okay, you don't need to do number 7. So you have 5 remaining problems, and 3 of them are review type questions.